Well, he bataka make. But Jayden Chase, they have to make the fans them know what really are going on.
Blessings Nation, and now welcome to the channel. Yeah, man, JAYDEN Chase, and then the one that we're going to bring on another reasoning on the topic of current affairs. So if you're new to the channel, well, I'm suggesting that you click the subscribe icon, and of course, let your voice be heard. Like and share the video, and yes, drop a comment in the comment section. Now, let's get right into reasoning. Now, Nation, in the long-anticipated press release, the Russian ambassador to Jamaica has made a statement on the 24 students who were stuck in Ukraine. He also addressed the situations of the sanctions now imposed by majority of the other countries in the world, and stated that there has been talks with the Jamaican government, and the Russian ambassador remind the state that they are currently the largest investors into bauxite out there on the Jamaican island. And of course, the 24 students are now currently in Poland. Now, Nation, may I make on the ear from the Russian ambassador himself, and they will continue reasoning. Look and listen.
And has the Jamaican government made any approach to you in regards to the students that are currently in Ukraine?
Yes, we spoke on this matter. So, but the problem, the situation is so that these students are stuck in Ukraine, not in Russia. And when I was approached by my colleagues from the Jamaican Foreign Ministry, it was some time ago, they said, understand that you are ambassador of Russia, not ambassador of the Ukraine.
Okay.
Yes.
But are you concerned that you may increasingly become an isolating figure in Kingston? So are you expecting fewer invitations to the cocktail circuit for future occasions?
Well, I think it's very difficult to isolate Russia. So we're a big country. So well, if you see that our leaders meet every day with the other world leaders, so well, yes, the situation is tense, of course. I think that both parties want to find a solution to this situation. Probably you have heard already in the morning there were some indications from the Ukrainian government that they're ready to want to start negotiations with Russia. And Russia replied in a positive way today that Russia is also ready to negotiate with the Ukraine. As the location for negotiations was proposed Minsk, the capital of Belarus, and the Ukrainian side, after thinking for a while, said no, Minsk does not suit. We will be ready to meet in Warsaw, in Poland. But after some time, so they said not today, but tomorrow. It was the latest development of the situation, which, well, it's difficult for me to comment. So I'm not a military.
In the past, sanctions on the billionaire, for example, Oleg Deripaska, has led to a fallout in bauxite production, or especially for UC Rusal. Do you see any potential for fallout for Russian investments in UC Rusal due to the current sanctions being imposed by the West?
First of all, we cannot assess for the moment the consequences of the latest Western sanctions. But what I can say that Russia is aimed at continuing its the work of the Rusal in the island. You know that Rusal is the biggest bauxite and alumina company, which possesses two alumina plants in Jamaica, Everton and Kirkwine. And now we are negotiating with the Jamaican authorities about to settle some issue, to settle the conditions for the further presence of Rusal in Jamaica. But this is probably our most successful, our flagship project of the bilateral economic cooperation in Jamaica. The Rusal already were under sanctions in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And then we negotiated with the Jamaican authorities, and in the end, they succeeded to lift the sanctions from the Vindalco. It's the company of Rusal, which is represented here in Jamaica. So we successfully solved this problem.
Could you expand on what that solution was?
it was as well. I don't know the details, but as far as I know, there were negotiations between the Jamaican authorities and the United States, which imposed sanctions on the Rusal, so not to include the Vindalco, to exclude Vindalco from the sanctions. So Vindalco can continue its activities in Jamaica.
Are there any investments that are currently being in the pipeline for Jamaica at the moment from Russia?
It's the Rusal. It's the Rusal. So as far as I know, the Rusal is now negotiating with the Jamaica's authority about quite a considerable amount of new investments in the bauxite and aluminium industry, in the mining industry in Jamaica.
So there are new additional.
Yes, nation. And based on the situation at hand, it looks like the government of Jamaica plans to uphold their business arrangement with the country, which would be in direct conflict with NATO requirements. Keeping in mind, it is a NATO country who will be facilitating the return home flight departures for the 24 students who were stuck in Ukraine as conflict arose, or arise rather. And as for now, the situation remains uncertain, because if sanctions imposed are successful, then that will force the Russian government to reconsider what is taking place in Ukraine. Them already I say, what take place it cost them 100 million euros per day. Now, truth be told, the situation didn't just happen overnight. For years now, there has been tension with Ukraine, with its proximity to Russia and its proximity to other allied NATO countries, which makes it prime real estate. Now, to keep in mind, at first, the aim was never to take over the country, but rather to control the government. And when Ukraine was asked to join NATO a couple years ago, them said no. And after that no, a large investment was made by the Russians into that country. So obviously there were talks being made with NATO and also talks being made with Russia. Now that administration has been changed. That president is no longer the president, and they now have a new president. And some would say that is where the fallout began. The fact that this individual was more in talks with America as opposed to being in talks with Russia. And sensing the power shift, Putin decided that, you know what, it would be in Russia's best interest to go over there now. In the best interest for nobody. Modern time now. This also a showcase how the system operates. Not only does governments want control how their citizens think, they want control how citizens of other countries think. And the world can't manage that. Individuals must be given their freedom of choice. And on a larger scale, communities given freedom of choice. And on an even larger scale, countries given their freedom of choice. And when it pertains to matters of war, it involves the entire world at this point in time. Because of trade, because of business arrangements, and because of close proximity of these countries to other countries. So it's not, oh, Russia and Ukraine are go at it, we're going to step aside. In the work, so as you see, Jamaica, as far away as in the Caribbean, had students over there. So we had an interest in what take place. Differently from that, the world is now saying sanctions against Russia. Jamaica does business with Russia in one of the biggest sectors on the island. Remember them said them couldn't close the border in a big C-19 because tourism was a big industry. You see, other than tourism, a backside and then music and reggae. And you know them go on music and dancehall and reggae already. Start in my comment section, nation. I'm not feel about the statements made by the Russian ambassador. And the reason again, my sentiments for you and yours, of course, want to live, love, and prosper. And yes, more to stay tuned. You know what I mean? Click the subscribe icon, then the bell icon, put it on all. This is how you know you'll be notified of all fresh content. As soon as fresh content is uploaded and made available for you right here upon the platform. The like icon is also in close proximity to the share icon. Drop a like and boost a share. Tell a friend, tell them sister and them brother them for check out the channel, check out the reason. Join the discussion. The comment section is open 24/7. It never lack yet. Just be respectful and mindful of the guidelines. But other than that, you can drop your thoughts, your comments, and yes, your opinions there. And we can continue the reasoning via the comment section. You know the something go. Yo, the good thing is that the 24 students are now in Poland. What is taking place in Europe is still taking place. And what is taking place in Europe affects other countries across the world, Jamaica included, regardless of if these 24 students are no longer in Ukraine, because we, as a country, and those on the island, and one of the biggest industries on the island, does business with Russia. Talk to me.